Trump's advisors want to punish some countries that want to de-dollarize. Today, the US dollar is the most important currency in the world. It's the world's reserve currency, in practical terms. It means that the US has unreasonable control over the world's economy. We trade with the US dollar, we save using the US dollar, and we're all forced to track the US dollar.
The world's biggest economies are at a boiling point. Just weeks before stepping into office, Donald Trump issued a stark warning to the BRICS nations: abandon the US dollar and face 100% tariffs on your exports to the United States. This isn't just about trade, it's about the very foundation of global economic power. In this video, we'll explore why BRICS is challenging the dollar and why Trump is out to dismantle the structure. The BRICS group, formed by Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, represents about 3.3 billion people, which is more than 40% of the world's population and around 37.3% of global GDP. In recent years, this bloc has grown to include new members like Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, further amplifying its global influence. One of the BRICS group's most ambitious goals is de-dollarization, a plan to reduce its dependency on the US dollar for international trade. This initiative gained traction following economic sanctions imposed on Russia in response to the Ukraine war. These sanctions highlighted the risks of being overly reliant on a currency controlled by Washington. At the 2024 BRICS summit, the group introduced discussions about creating an alternative trading currency. This currency would allow member nations to bypass the dollar for cross-border transactions, giving them greater independence from US-controlled financial systems like the SWIFT payment network. Such a move is seen as a direct challenge to the dollar's global dominance. Supporters of de-dollarization argue that this shift could provide greater economic stability for developing nations, especially those vulnerable to US monetary policy decisions. However, critics say the idea is far from realistic. They point out that the US dollar is deeply embedded in global trade, with over 88% of international currency transactions involving the dollar. More so, it represents 58% of the value of foreign reserve holdings worldwide. But the motivation for BRICS is clear: reducing the influence of the US in shaping the economic fate of other nations. Trump's bold threats and strategic calculations. Donald Trump wasted no time addressing BRICS' ambitions. Weeks before his inauguration, he issued a bold ultimatum. Any nation abandoning the dollar for this new currency would face a 100% tariff on its exports to the US. This statement sent shockwaves through international markets and sparked heated reactions from BRICS leaders. Trump's tariff strategy isn't new. During his previous presidency, he imposed sweeping tariffs on China, targeting over $500 billion worth of goods. His goal was to pressure China into renegotiating trade agreements. While those tariffs caused disruptions in global supply chains, they also highlighted the extent of Trump's willingness to use economic tools for political leverage. But why target BRICS so aggressively? The US dollar is more than a currency. It's a tool of geopolitical power. As the world's reserve currency, the dollar allows the US to influence international trade, impose sanctions, and maintain economic stability at home. If BRICS successfully replaces the dollar, it could undermine Washington's ability to wield this influence. Trump's threats serve two purposes: to protect American industries from cheaper imports and to preserve the dollar's dominance in global trade. But this approach has its risks. Imposing 100% tariffs could lead to retaliation from BRICS nations, further escalating global trade tensions. The economic stakes are massive. According to estimates, BRICS accounts for roughly $4 trillion in trade with the United States. A full-blown tariff war could disrupt industries from agriculture to technology, driving up costs for American consumers and businesses. Trump's threat to impose 100% tariffs has ignited fierce reactions worldwide. BRICS leaders, especially China, Russia, and Brazil, have strongly condemned his statements. A spokesperson for China's Ministry of Commerce called the threat an act of economic intimidation, warning that it would lead to significant retaliatory measures. Russia, too, described the tariffs as an open declaration of trade war, hinting at countermeasures that could target US businesses operating abroad. BRICS nations could counter Trump's proposed 100% tariffs with a range of strategic measures designed to reduce their reliance on US trade systems and mitigate economic impacts. One significant approach involves boosting trade settlements in their local currencies, an initiative already underway to diminish dependency on the US dollar. This strategy allows BRICS countries to bypass dollar-dominated trade systems, lessening the impact of tariffs. Additionally, BRICS may strengthen regional alliances, forging deeper economic ties with nations in Asia, Africa, and other key markets, effectively diversifying their trade networks. Another powerful move could be the development of alternative financial systems, such as a BRICS-backed payment system or even a joint digital currency, which would provide autonomy and resilience against US economic pressure. Retaliatory tariffs targeting US industries heavily reliant on exports to BRICS countries could also be employed, directly affecting sectors like agriculture, technology, and automotive. For example, soybean and beef exports to China and Brazil, as well as US tech giants, and car manufacturers exporting to markets like South Africa and China may face steep challenges. These countermeasures highlight the significant ripple effects that BRICS nations' strategic responses could have on the global economy and US businesses. Even within the United States, Trump's proposal has drawn criticism. Economists warn that a tariff hike of this magnitude would have a cascading effect on the global economy. The US could face rising import prices, higher inflation, and potential job losses in industries that rely on exports. According to the Peterson Institute for International Economics, a similar trade war in 2018 cost the US economy an estimated $45 billion annually. But BRICS is not without challenges of its own. For its proposed trading currency to succeed, member nations must overcome significant hurdles, including deep political differences and disparities in economic priorities. India, for instance, has historically been cautious about aligning too closely with China, while Brazil and South Africa have their domestic economic challenges to address. Still, the prospect of a unified BRICS currency poses a serious challenge to the dollar. If successful, it could attract other nations frustrated by US economic dominance. Already, countries like Saudi Arabia and Argentina have shown interest in joining BRICS, signaling a broader shift in the global economic order. For Trump, this standoff is as much about politics as it is about economics. By taking a hardline stance, he's appealing to his base, who see him as a defender of American industries and workers. His rhetoric underscores a broader theme of America First, which has defined his political strategy. The conflict between Donald Trump and BRICS represents a pivotal moment in global economic history. On one side, BRICS nations are striving to reduce their reliance on the US dollar and challenge decades of American dominance. On the other, Trump is determined to protect the dollar's supremacy, even if it means risking a trade war that could have profound consequences for the global economy. As tensions rise, the world is left to wonder, will BRICS reshape the global financial system, or will Trump's bold threats derail their ambitions? One thing is certain, the stakes have never been higher, and the outcome of this showdown will shape the future of international trade for decades to come.